We had a pre-interview conversation that was one of the most insightful that I've had in years. Like that's just me being real with you. So today, good sir, I want to dive back with you a little bit with sharing a story to ignite the first question. I remember I went to Emerson College in Boston, and initially I went in as a journalism major.
Mm.
What was interesting because I figured this out, I was like, well, I love talking to people. I love creative. I love storytelling. I love finding out facts and information.
Mm.
So I figured journalism was the path for me.
Mm.
My my professor at the time, Manny Parasco, said on the first day, for those of you who are here to pursue some sort of creative career as a storyteller,
Mm.
this is not the path for you. And I remember I was like so blown away by his honesty. And years later, even though I switched majors, now with the work that I do, it is sort of like this version
Mm.
of, you know, strengthening that journalism muscle, like getting creative, doing research, asking questions to get to the heart of a story.
Mhm.
So, for you, when you reflect back on that time, um, before you chose journalism as your path, what was that sort of initial spark or curiosity that initially interested you in pursuing a path in journalism?
It's funny, I haven't thought about this for, a long time. So bear
Mhm.
with me. I think
Yeah.
that I think that what took me there is, probably the same things that you've said. I'd
Mhm.
probably throw in there like a curiosity, um, a kind of nosiness. Really, you have to be as a journalist. You can't
Mhm.
just be like, okay, well, don't worry if you don't want to speak, about that, or you just okay, we'll see you later. I'm not saying you never take no for an answer, but there's more to it than just, oh, so you don't want to say anything. You would, and I think that part of it, uh, curiosity, nosiness, but then a wider kind of thought is
Mhm.
obviously the storytelling, um, aspect of it. People are just fascinating, endlessly fascinating to me, and I think that even though I did English, which was at university, and French. Not that that's not relevant, but is what happened. Um, I I think over the years I've just become more and more interested in non-fiction. So real stuff, and even to this day, I don't read much fiction. It's not that I won't. I just find myself drawn to the non-fiction. So I think that
Mhm.
it's that kind of real life that I just find really fascinating, and yeah, it's obviously journalism is broad. It's I actually was working in what I would call hard news, which is like,
Mhm.
it's not specifically crime, but there is a lot of crime. There's a lot.
Mhm.
I would say, whatever people think about news is generally bad.
Yeah.
So, and that goes for whatever you watch it on. It's never like, look at this really happy old woman with
Yeah.
with her cat. That's lovely. What a lovely, lovely thing. It's very much like,
Fantastic.
it's fantastic, fantastic old woman, fantastic cat, and it's very much like you just see really bad things. It's not I'm drawn to the bad things, but I was quite young, so you just go with it. But I would say that I think about it a lot these days because I think it's taught me something. Well, several things, very valuable things about
Mhm.
people, life, storytelling, going after things. I was talking to someone earlier, and I'm sure we'll talk about the word strategy. But
Oh yeah.
when I didn't really, you didn't have a strategy when you're a journalist. You just go, right, go over there and talk to that person. It's honestly,
Yeah.
it's so simple. It's not even like, okay, 3 steps to do. No, no, no. It's go
Just
over
go.
there and talk to that person. And I think that's, as time's gone on, even to this today, I've thought about it and thought, you know what? That's just what I'm like. It's just like, right, go over there,
Yeah.
talk to that person, or try that, try this, see, try your luck, as we say over here, try your luck. And that's why I think I probably struggle with a lot of the more strategy based stuff, because it's like, well, I don't need a strategy for
Yeah.
that. Just go and talk to that person. And often, like when you're, for me, I was physically out there on the ground, going up to people, going up into knocking on their front doors. And most of the time, people tell you to, I'm not going to use the words, but they say some pretty aggressive words back to you. So that's what I'm used to. Just like, yeah, try that, see if it
Okay.
works. But I think that's the thing that it's given me, that I can't, unless you've done it, people don't really get it. They're like, what, you go up to their house? Yeah. And they're like, what, you'd knock on every door on a street trying to get
Yeah.
someone to talk to you about something that's happened, whether it be, it's never good. It's always bad. And you're like, okay, did you see anything? Oh, how well did you know this person? And I once told someone that someone had died, and it was their son, and they didn't know they died. And it was just, I didn't mean to, like, it was something had happened, and she hadn't found out, but I knew, because it was like this story that was developing. I
Holy
got sent there,
shit.
quite, and this is real life. Nothing prepare. I say nothing prepares you. You deal with it, and in a not in a. I'm saying I'm an insensitive person, but you become desensitized to certain interactions.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I think that's what people don't understand about journalism. They think it's about writing, but it's not
Mm.
about writing. It's about acquiring the information and then writing, or however whatever journalism you do. But mainly it's writing, because you have to write it in some way, whether it be, for
Yeah.
something, a written publication, or, write up something or whatever. And it's the acquiring that information that people, they go, how, they don't question where it came from. They just go, oh, that story. Someone's had to go and get that story. And it's an amazing thing about it. It's like, it's basically you acquiring information.
Yeah.
And then sharing it with people. So I think that was the hardest, but like, a bad thing about it. And doing that day after day, was, yeah, it's very at the sharp end of it as well. The stuff that I was doing was like hardcore, like, serious stuff,
Yeah.
and it's I kind of don't think about it every day, obviously, but that's what people. There's storytelling is one of the broadest words you can have. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, what
Yeah.
does that mean? And that's why it
Oh,
kind of slightly annoys me when people are like, "Yeah, just tell your story. Tell your story. What do you mean?
yeah.
What do you mean?"
Like that, it covers a lot. I mean, I have to go back really quick, with being respectful of this person's privacy, but how did you navigate that situation where you revealed some profound info to that parent?
I can't remember exactly. I mean, I couldn't even remember their name if I tried. But
Yeah.
it was like there'd been some sort of incident at, was it like some sort of plant or industrial place?
Oh man.
I can't remember what I said. I think I just said, I didn't say it like, oh, how do you feel about your son passing? It was more like, it was more that I'd hinted, because I was asking about something, and they were like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "I don't think this is my
Yeah.
place to tell." You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Oh
I didn't
god.
say the words, but it was kind of like obvious that, why would I be there? You
Yeah.
know. So that's
Oh
challenging, but these things, that could happen. That could happen on any day. To be honest, I'm not saying it did, but it could.
I'm thinking, as you're explaining, like going through this journey, what it was like for you back then. What's interesting is looking at how you show up and approach your work now. There's obviously a connection, right? Because, and I'm actually curious, when you look at what you're doing now and the way you want to provide value and the way you're consistently showing up and getting your message out there, how much of your career as a journalist do you believe has informed what you do now and your approach?
I think it informs more of it as I stand here today talking to you than it did 5 years ago when I started.
Mm.
Well, about 5.5-ish years ago when I started the business. I actually think I approached the business at the beginning very much from it was creative. It is creative. But it was very much from a, marketing and advertising perspective, which is,
Yep.
yeah, I'm not saying I don't do anything like that now, but I
Mm.
think I've just grown into myself, and almost like, what's my mission and quest? you know, not like what's my mission in Quest 5 years ago. I know what it was. It's not the same now. So you have to evolve. You have to evolve. You know, and if some people don't think like this. That's absolutely fine. Like I think I need one. Um, Partly it is my quest to have a
Mm.
fulfilling life. Yeah,
Yes.
partly it's my quest to do that. Partly it's my quest to not necessarily be a journalist, but it's almost like I can't switch off this. What's going on over there? What
Mm.
happens if this happens? What if I try this? Let's do that. Okay, well that didn't exist 5 minutes ago. Now it does. Wow. Okay, and so I feel like I'm kind of, without trying to put a name or I don't know, a kind of strategy on it. It's almost like some sort of cross section between my personal philosophies, creativity
Mm.
and business. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's I mean, as I talk to you today, I'm very honest in terms of how I operate. Like, it's very difficult for me to not talk to you right now without talking about what's in my head right now, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
I can't talk about what I can tell you what was in my head a few years ago, but then it's almost like not redundant, but it's got me to today. But as I
Yeah.
stand here today, it's like, what's going through my head quite a lot is what my quest is, and how much that, like, the journalist, I don't want to be a journalist specifically. I don't think you ever stop being a journalist, by the way, but I think that
Yeah.
I don't want to be traditionally what I was, working for
Hmm.
a publication, or it's not what I want, because I've done that and I left for a reason. Um,
Yeah.
I love doing my own thing, but it's almost like that. Um, using all your experience and knowledge and your unique perspective on the world to create something that is just ultimately you. That's what I'm working on, because it's like, it's very easy to pigeonhole yourself, or other people pigeonhole you, going, okay, well, you do this, and it's like, for example,
Hmm.
I can make videos. It's no problem. I enjoy it, but it makes me think about, that feels like a subsection. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
well, it's not the entry point. It is at the moment. I get that. For people who don't, when you know people, it's very easy to talk to them about all the things that's going through your head. When people don't know you and say there's a digital footprint and it doesn't quite make sense to them, that is harder. But what the thing is, I'm very good at talking to people. So once I talk to people, I can bring them into the,
Mm.
anyway. And my point is that, the quest that's kind of going through my head at the moment is, you know, humanizing humanizing people and brands and all this stuff. Was a while ago, people would go, yeah, of course, yeah, that makes complete, yeah, so
Yeah. That
obvious.
makes sense.
But now in 2025, people are going to, I believe people are going to say it more. They're going to go, where's the human? Where's the human? Because it's
Yes.
just going to happen more and more. So, and it's not trying to be clever. I'm just saying I believe in that. The reason it works for me, and it's not just a fancy word, or it's a clear word, is that, like, I don't have the traditional kind of creative background, which is advertising, marketing, strategy. Why would I have? I have real life. That's my experience. As in, when I
Yeah.
say real life, I mean my work has been real life. I don't mean, yeah, just the university life, man. I mean, like, I was like real life journalist, real life documentary maker. Like, what I'm saying is, like, what I can only work with
What you
what I
got?
like, what I've got. But I have tried
Yeah.
to do more strategic stuff. And so the other thing that I've got on my mind a lot is a bit of, like what I said to you earlier about going and knocking on the door. It's like there's no strategy for that. And I personally think that people are over strategizing so many areas of their life, and certainly business and, um, let's say, marketing, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not a specific thing. It's not a specific kind of topic. It's more like just generally. And
Yeah.
everyone's go, and I just wondered, when did everyone get so? Maybe they've always been like that, and I've just not noticed. But it's like, here's 3 steps to do this, and here's 7 pillars of this, and
To do
four
that. Yeah.
framework for. And I'm just going, do people?
Yeah.
It's not. It's wrong. I'm just saying, like, I'm just like, okay, let's just leave that, and then just imagine you're going over there and just going, right, I'm just going to do that. So everything I do from now on, even though I have done it anyway, I'm going to do it more, is just be completely upfront about the adventure that I'm on, and just build out like that, and just go, look, for example, I'm not going to be like, you need to fail. People don't want to fail. People don't want to fail. It's not like, yeah, you need to fail
Yeah.
fast and fail. That's not my message. I'm just going to keep trying things and be very honest about it and be like, okay, I've done it
Yeah.
my whole life. I'm going to keep doing it, and I'm just going to keep putting my ideas and philosophies out there, but really do it this time where I'm like, I'm not thinking strategically. I'm just going, okay, I'm just going to give myself to the process, whether that be, well, it is creative. It's just like, right, wow, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm doing it for me. And if people want to come along with me, they can. But I'm not trying to strategize to the point where I'm like, well, what's going to happen? Where's that going to go? And why is that going to do that? And what's the bit in the middle? I'm just going to go, right, this is what I, because
What I
this is
do.
how you get your, I believe, you get your ideas out there with confidence, because you just go, well, this is what I think,
Yeah.
and I'm not trying to tear anything down. But then the point I'm going to make now is I'm not going to then tell everyone, well, this is how you do it. I'm just going to go, I'm doing this. I'm going to do
Yeah.
this. This is what I think. If you want to come along, please do. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. And I will work it out as I go along. And this will encourage me, I think, I believe, to create a new business for myself, which is not being too influenced by what other
The
people are
external.
doing,
Yeah.
or what other people think that I should be doing, or what I represent. And I know that sounds like, to some people they'll go, yeah, but what do you do? And I'll be like, don't worry, it's going to come. You know what I mean? It's going to come.
I love this. Yes. Yeah. Well, the thing is, you're inside my head right now, and it's like after like between our last chat and this one, so many themes came up for me, which is how the minute you add strategy to something, then it sort of becomes in its own way. For me, like it was analysis paralysis by analysis, right?
Yeah.
Because, and I have a friend who's a teacher, and she said something that which is similar to what we're talking about, which is she said this quote, this insight, which blew my mind, because there's a lot of friction with what teachers are doing, creating curriculum, and what
Mm-hmm.
the administration expects of them. She said to me, Ken, they're trying to standardize something that should be an art form.
Mm.
And when you think about what it is, what we do as creators, right, as business owners,
Mm.
just because we can do the thing doesn't necessarily mean we want to freaking teach the thing.
No.
And something you shared on LinkedIn, if I can share a recent post,
Sure.
because one, I've caught you at this pivotal time of growth and transformation in your life. And I think this post you put up really touches on this, which is life's felt a bit heavy of late, but not in a bad way, in a fascinating and exciting way. Soon to be a father for the first time, buying my first home, evolving a solo business, it's taken up a lot of brain power. There was a time where the majority of my time was spent thinking about running my business. Now I've got other big hitting contenders there too, and it's encouraged me to reflect a lot. And this is the last part I want to share before I get into my
No,
question.
no problem.
What I want the next bit of time to look like, what's lighting me up at the moment, how do I see the world around me? And I'm dying to ask you this question, which is now, as a soon to be father and a
Mm.
solopreneur and a creator, what are you reflecting on right now? Like, what is that narrative in your mind with just being in this current state where there's a lot of change and transformation that's about to happen or happening?
Mm.
What are you reflecting on the most?
I think it's having the courage to step into myself. I know that sounds ironic from someone who has, for example, I've been on LinkedIn for 5 years and I've got a fairly good audience.
Hmm.
It seems ironic for me to say that, but I know that I can step into myself more honestly, truthfully, intentionally than what I have done. I'm not saying anything I've said is false.
Hmm.
It's just, it's curated,
Yes.
as we all do that, right? But right, the thing that I'm reflecting on is I have a business that as you know, I feel like I've got about 10 websites, which makes me laugh. But the point is, uh, I have to embrace who I am.
Mm.
I like trying stuff out, as I mentioned, and I love being like, okay, you can do that, and it's almost like you prove something to yourself and to others, and then
Mm.
you're like, okay, not, oh, I won't do it anymore. It's just like, does this serve me? Does this continue to serve me? So I think that it's having the confidence and courage to just go, or almost like go all in on myself and my ideas and philosophies. And do you see what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's like open it up rather than restrict it down, right? And restricting it down is not a bad thing, by the way. I think that like when it's clear, you
Yeah.
know, and it's practical, people know what they're getting, they know why they're doing it. I could do that, but it's not enough for me. Do you know what I mean? Like I need to go. Well, if I go and speak to that person,
Mm.
what will happen? It's not because I want to go and speak to them to sell them like, I don't know, some video services. It's
Mm.
because I want to be like in the room with people sharing ideas and talking about interest. You know, like it's like, well, this is what's on my mind, because that's when I feel like the reason the reason we enjoyed our conversation the other day is because we were sharing ideas. So it's having the courage to just go. It's almost having the courage to go, right. I am the business. I mean, I always have been, but I probably had business, and then I had services, and I had maybe products. Whereas now I'm just like, okay, just be the business. You know, just be the business. And if you want to go down rabbit holes with your kind of thoughts and creativity and ideas, just do it. Like just do it. Like don't even think, okay, what's the point of it, or where's this going to go?
Yes.
Why would you do that? Okay, so if you do that, like, what's the kind of plan with it? It's like, I know it seems crazy to some people because they'll go, well, why, what? Yeah, but what are you going to do? And I'm like,
Just want to get it out.
I just want to get it out, and I think that's the point. Like, and I just want to, and I really have found it very challenging for myself in the last bit of time to be a teacher, because I don't feel like my method of teaching people is download this free ebook, okay, which is designed, you don't know this, but it's designed for you to come into this part of my ecosystem. So
Yeah.
once you're in my ecosystem, you're going to pay for this, because that's actually what I want you to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And it's, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's just not. Get them in the funnel and get them buying stuff. And it's just like, okay, what would I rather do for me? It's not a criticism of anyone else. That's why I can't teach. That's why I can't go how to do this, how to do this, how to do this. My party line, if I was a politician, would be, I'm going to share this with you just because this is what's on my mind.
Mm.
You can come with me if you like, and if you don't want to, that's okay. But I ain't going to tell you what to do. This is what I'm going to do. And so, you know, whatever comes out in the next bit of time, I'll do it with. And it's not. This is the irony. It's like it's going like, what's the strategy? And I'm trying to resist. I'm not trying to say
Yeah.
strategy shit. I'm just going. I'm trying to be anti-strategy for a bit, just because I just want to make stuff or write stuff or do stuff just because I enjoy it. And if I, to be honest, I've earned it for myself,
Yeah.
because I'm not going right. I'm leaving my job, got no money, and I don't know how to make money. How do I do this? It's like, if I want to get clients for, say, something that I already do, I can just talk to them. I'll just go, okay, because that's the gateway is me, you know, anyway. But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, I almost want the people who don't know me, well, the people who do as well. Obviously, I want them to follow along, but I want people to go, okay, there's some interesting ideas, and it's getting a conversation going, rather than it being like how to sell this or how to do this or how to. It's just not my. It's not interesting to me, and I'm happy to sacrifice probably some financial gain, to be
Mm.
honest, for the satisfaction and fulfillment of being like, do you know what? I'm glad I did that, because I wouldn't have done that talk, or I wouldn't have met that person, or maybe I
Mm.
wouldn't have written that book, or maybe I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't have just let my mind just like go with it, rather than being like, what's the practical thing to do? And you know, I just feel the need to not, for whatever reason, maybe it's just a drive, maybe it's insecurity in some way. I
Mm.
mean, we're all insecure, so
Yeah.
uh, why do you want
It's
to
true.
be? Do I? Is it that you want fame? And it's like, no, I just like talking about ideas, and
Yeah.
I just like to. I enjoy it a lot. Like, and so really, it's like, okay, I'm just going to go with that for a while and see what comes of it, because I, you know, as you know me a little bit, you know that I'm just going to go over there and knock on that door, Ken, because I'll do it. I'll
Yeah.
just go, right,
Oh, I
I'll
can.
talk to that person. And but it's not. It's yeah. But that's the beautiful thing about art and creativity. It's just like, well, it's not as, you can't pigeon, you can't box it in. It's basically like,
Yeah.
and I'm but just to be clear, I know you recommended this to me last week, Rick Rubin.
Yes. Did you do a deep dive?
I've got the book. I've probably read about, I don't know, maybe 250 pages out of 400 pages. And I'm literally like, okay, right.
Yep.
It's not every word, because it's not like that. But I can't remember a time when I wrote as many notes, you know, as,
Wow.
about something, and it's really, I'm really glad you recommended that to me, because I'm looking at it going, that's what I would say. Great. It's not about being validated. It's just great. But then
Oh, yeah.
there's also bits where I'm like, he's challenging me, and I need to look at myself, not in a I've done anything wrong or it's bad. Just I think
Yeah.
I may be wanting too much from other people for
Interesting.
this certain parts, certain things, So it's kind of, I just find that really, I'm finding it very, very liberating. But
That's
and
awesome,
I mean,
man.
this might kind of be a slight segue, but I think I feel like art and business are like so far away from each other. Like,
They are.
and it's weird. Like, I've never really thought about it until maybe I spoke to you last week, and then the last week, and then reading Rick Rubin's book, and I'm just like, we're trying, like, it's like they don't like each other, and it's like business is like done a certain way, and and it's really, I think it's a big challenge to commercialize art. So it's basically like, where can you, art's here and business is here, and you're just trying to, and that's what I feel like. I know it's kind of, I feel like an artist. I do feel like an artist.
Yeah.
But I've always thought like one. But then at some point, I've commercialized it or thought about how I could. When I was in a band,
Of
I was always
course.
like, okay, the pureness is there because we're making it and we love it. And then you're basically thinking, how do we get a better gig, or how do we, get signed or whatever. And what I've been reflecting on a lot is, and I know I said this to you last week, which is probably why you suggested it, is doing things for the love of them is, whatever that is. And we're talking about art, like, do it for the love of it. Like, it's much better for you. And
Hmm.
then do that. And then if you want to share it, which people do, because they want some, we want to share things, that's absolutely
Yeah.
fine. Share it without expectation, and just see how it resonates. But it's got to be, this is what Rick Rubin says. I'm not saying it's necessarily in these words, but it's like, you've got to do it for you first,
Yeah. Yeah.
and maybe wholly for you. If you really want it to be a true reflection and depiction of what's there, do you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's not to say that you can't be influenced. Of course, you be influenced. Like, there's a great bit that I didn't know where, like, I'm from Liverpool, which is where the Beatles are from,
Yeah.
and the Beatles. I can't remember. Basically, Pet Sounds was a result of Brian Wilson trying to write music as good as the Beatles. And then the Beatles listened to Pet Sounds and they were like, oh, if only we could make something this good. And then they basically wrote Sergeant Pepper's at the album. And you just think it's okay to, they're not competing. They're just, as in, like, they're not the same thing, but they're
Yeah.
just like, there's that artistic brilliance that they feel inspired by, to be like, no, I'm going to put everything into this, and
Whoa.
and see what comes out. But like, they're not doing it. They might be doing it for success, and we can't switch that part off. But
Of course
I think
not. Yeah.
that's where I'm, having a bit of an interesting mission adventure at the moment, which is the, like, I've realized how much art is important to me, being artistic and creative, and then it almost feels a bit off when I go too far business. So I think my quest for the next uh, bit of time will be like, how much can I commercialize without losing sight,
Oh,
losing sight of who I am creatively.
The fact that you're aware of that balance, right, I think puts you in a different category than so many others because we can get stuck in the algorithmic way of
Yeah,
thinking,
yeah,
calls to action, and all this fun
yeah,
stuff that
yeah.
almost consumes
Mm,
and stagnates the process of human connection. Because when we spoke, and just like we're having this conversation now, it's this idea of living with intention over strategy,
mm,
right? Is and the questions you're asking and what you brought up last time about with Simon Sinek about the infinite game philosophy,
mm.
how life is an evolving journey.
Yeah.
So for you right now, I'm going to ask you the question that I wish someone would have asked me before my son was born.
Mm.
And it is when your daughter looks back one day at the work you're doing now, what do you hope that she sees in it?
I think the point that I would like to make was that I will always show her that I'm trying to just explore something and not just settle for today. If I could teach her one thing, it would be like just give that a go. Do you know what I mean? Just give that a go. Like
Just try it.
just try that. Just try. Like I'm not saying try everything because I always say that. I always say this. I think well, I'll try anything once is a stupid phrase because you're just not going to. But it's like just you've got an interest. Maybe there's a bit of interest. Just try it. Just try it. I know, and if it scares you and there's a bit of resistance there, that's not always a bad thing. But I think that
Hmm.
like you have to. That attitude is kind of what I'd like to pass on because it's what I have. Because now I'm just like, okay, maybe I need to give myself permission to be like, okay, well, just try that. Like, just try that. Like, it's not. No one's thinking about you anywhere near as much as you think about yourself.
So
You know.
true.
So it's basically like you may as well just not try things out of desperation. I'm not saying like, well, I've tried everything, like nothing's working. It's more just like, well, I am in a position to try because I can just go right. Well, I've got here through basically trying, and it's not like it's a huge success story. It is to me because
Hmm.
I live on my own terms to a degree. You know, we
Yeah.
all it's never completely 100%. But I have the the beautiful option of being like, why don't I just try this? Like what like not because I don't know my mother, I love her dearly, but she used to say to me because I do change my mind on things, but I don't think that's a bad thing. But she used to say to me, "You don't know what you want," and I'd say, "No, mother, I know what I don't want." And the only way that you know that is by trying things because you can't possibly be like, "Nah, it's not for me." That it's like, well, you don't know, do you? Because you've not tried it. So you can only say that once you've tried it, and if you're not trying it, then you can never say that really. So for me, it's just like, well, I've carved out. I've probably got. I mean, and everyone has a squiggly line that's just going like this. It's
Yeah.
not about like, oh, okay, I've gone all the way to the top.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like,
not
okay,
linear.
not linear, and you're just kind of doing this. But like, I just think the difference for me now is that I am going to be very honest about it, but without expectation of an outcome. And that's where I've released myself a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
everything is like, okay, do that. But then, as you said, call to action. It's like, where do you want them to lead them to? And it's kind of just
Yeah.
like, it's like the last two posts that I've done on LinkedIn, which, I can't ignore numbers because it's data. But it's not everything, but it is there. The last two
Yeah.
posts that I've done that have done the best have been basically where I've gone, I don't really have a lesson, so I'm not going to share one. And then I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's because of that. I'm just saying that attitude to it I think is helpful because it's kind of like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
well, maybe just try that. And because we don't know. And I didn't want anything from it. I don't really put call to actions anyway, and I don't really sell anything. That's the irony. But the point is, I talked about my nan. I've
Yeah.
told you this, she loved George Clooney. Took George Clooney cardboard cutout to a funeral. It was a great day because of that story where no lesson. It's not like even in the
Yeah.
dark times, there's going to be you've got to laugh, and it's like I don't need to
Yeah.
say it. Just I don't need to say it. You either
No.
see it or you don't. And then yesterday I was just like, right, well, this is what's on my mind. I'm just going to share that again. No lesson. And I think that the things that I feel at the moment is like, and I appreciate our conversation last week because I went to an event maybe the day after, and I met a
Mm.
lady, and her name was Mary, and she was a really nice lady. And I feel like we were supposed to speak to each other. It was weird. It was just like I didn't know her,
I love those
and we were
moments.
talking about this thing, and I was telling her about probably some of the similar things I've been saying to you. And she messaged me. We were messaging a bit afterwards, and she just—I can't remember the exact words, but you're like,
Yep.
I've changed something in her mind without. I didn't tell her what to do. I just said, and we talked about strategy, and I realized we realized that she's over strategizing everything, because she's basically like over strategizing to the point where she's not doing it, because she's like thinking about outcomes all the
Yes.
time. And she has her own business, and it's doing well. It's creative, strategist, actually. Irony. But she was talking about how she wanted to do more, more creative stuff for herself.
Yeah.
But the problem is, when you're a strategist, um, you only know that. You only know strategy, outcome,
Hmm.
strategy, outcome, strategy, outcome. There's no
You're
room for
stuck in that
play.
thinking.
There's no room for play. There's no room for like experimentation, exploring, because you're already stopping yourself from doing that part, because you've basically gone, well, what? Why would is that? Does that go to there? 2 and 2 is 4. Okay, well, we go to that, and that is my point. And I've said that to one person, maybe a couple more, and she's found it very enlightening. Which I'm just thought, wow, okay, well, there's obviously something in this. Even a strategist is telling me that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's how it works.
I mean,
Strategy.
that's a powerful transformative conversation. You got her thinking differently because, I mean, honestly, as we're chatting here, you know what comes to mind? I don't know if I shared this with you, which is I think the key metric that most people miss
Mm.
is fun.
Yeah,
Like if we're not having fun, like pardon my French, what's the fucking point?
yeah.
I mean, I'm curious to get your thoughts on this, and also how has this way of thinking, how has it changed for you the journey of putting out content and showing up online? How has it changed? Is it more sustainable? Is it more energizing? Like what's changed for you shifting these gears?
I mean, originally, like when I'm 38 years old, so the content thing was, social media is not as old as people think it is.
Yeah.
And even when it was there, it was very rudimentary. It wasn't. People didn't think about content; they just thought about posting something on Facebook, which isn't. It's not
Hmm.
content. When I was maybe 18, 19, 20, uni, college, if you call it, you'd call it that.
Hmm.
Facebook was like going out and putting pictures of you drunk nights out,
Yeah.
and you'd put like 50 pictures, and they were all blurry as shit, and you're just like, what is this? Like, imagine doing that now. People are like, what is this?
What are you doing?
But whereas now everything's kind of thought. Everything's now been thought out into, dare I say it, this strategy,
Yeah.
where it's like, okay, well, what is this thought piece? I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying everything's now like content, and so for me, it was like when I actually started my own business, I needed clients and money, so it was like, okay, well, where do I get those from? And it was like, obviously, I know people, so I'd message loads of people. I'd call it the inner circle. That's what I call. But and I don't mean like my mum. I mean like people people be like, oh, I'm doing this. I've got my business now, whatever. But
Yeah.
I just saw content as like, okay, and it's not a wrong thing. It was just like, right, my credibility is this. So you basically just post about how great you were,
Yeah.
which I don't think is a bad thing personally. But it's not really very, in terms of content. I realized that talking about sharing your art and talking about how great it is, it doesn't really attract people, because people
No.
are like, it's very like take, which is fine. Like it's not a terrible thing, but I think that's when I started to realize it was like, well, this isn't going to do well in terms of getting in front of more people, because it's basically me going, look how great this is, and there wasn't really any value in it for other people, which is fine. But so
Yeah.
I kind of went through that phase. Then I learned, I probably got influenced by other people who think, and just the online space, where it was like, you've got to educate, educate your audience, and then
Yes.
obviously things come in about, how you do this and how you do that. So obviously I can talk, you can talk about what you know, and that's the best thing to talk about, rather than talking about what you don't know. If you want to talk about what you don't know, that's fine. But you have to be like, well, I don't really know about this, but I'm interested in maybe learning a bit more, and then but you can't do that very often because it's like, well, you're basically just talking about nothing. Um,
Yeah.
but what you have to what you do know. So I would talk about what I did know, and I'd talk about tips about being a freelancer or starting your own business or things like that. And do you know
Yeah.
what? That actually did grow quite quickly, as in the followers, the engagement was very high. But then I was just like, I've kind of lost a bit of myself here. Do you know what I mean? Like, because it's
Yep.
kind of like I'm just teaching. And then in the end, I kind of stopped doing that. Sorry. And then I was in that phase. I was also teaching people about LinkedIn because I just, I do know a thing or two about it. But then over time, I was just like, this didn't light me up, just sort of.
Yep.
And I'm also just, I sound like some other people, which I
Yes.
didn't like. And it's, when I say like, I don't mean exactly like. I mean, like, when you talk about one topic, for example,
Hmm.
there might be variations on a theme, but it's very similar. It's just like, okay, right, how you
Yeah.
how you grow this or how you start this. Anyway, and then I'd say probably in the last bit of time, I went quite entertainment heavy because I was just like, well, I need to create stuff, otherwise I'll go mad.
Yeah.
So I started creating stuff, and then what I'm trying to say is like, it doesn't take very long for you to refocus and pivot, and then people will know you for that. But I get a lot of messages from people saying how sometimes like my videos have brightened up their day, and they're like, oh, they needed a good laugh and stuff, and I'm like, very human. That is very human, and I like that a lot. So I
Yeah.
think that's the most recent phase. But then I also don't want to. I genuinely just it's not honest, and it's not honest for me to just make comedy videos or comedy content all the time because I don't want to. I do
Yeah.
stand up comedy, but it's
Yeah.
an element of my life. It's not like I want to be comedy person and then I have to talk about either do comedy or make people laugh all the time, or I have to talk about this is where what I'm saying is you need the circuit breaker, which is resist teaching people how to do comedy or resist teaching people how to make comedy videos or whatever. So I'm kind of like,
Yeah.
not everything has to be a lesson. That these are actually my weird, takeaways are basically like, not everything has to be content wise. Not everything has to be strategy. Not everything has to be like, where's this going to lead? Not everything has to have a lesson.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of where my journey's at. And now it's kind of feels like it's going to be the rawest it's ever been. But it's not a strategy. It's more just like that's what I want to do. And I want to, as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be very honest about that. And I'll, if people want to come along, they're more than welcome to come along. Um, but that just feels where I'm at. You know,
Yeah.
that's the chapter that I'm in, and this is where I'm kind of just like happy to just not be free of strategy and overthinking, but just go. Do you know what? What's the consequence of me doing this really? Because we're thinking, what's the outcome? What problem you're solving? It's like maybe I don't know what problem I'm solving yet. Maybe there
Yeah.
isn't a problem. Maybe there isn't a problem. Maybe there is. I don't know. The point is, like, we are all conditioned, and this is especially in business, to think a certain way. And I think that's
Hmm.
that's what I'm trying to. I'm not challenging it to be like it's all wrong. It's just not what I want. I don't want it. It doesn't really. But I have to be honest and realistic that some commercialization has to happen somewhere. But I will find that through going on my adventure. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
I've probably been paid. I'm not. I'm certainly not a millionaire, but I've probably been paid in the last 5 years. I would say at least in 15 different ways, right? And I was saying that to as in for 15 different things. And I was saying that to my girlfriend yesterday, and she was just like, 15. I was like, yeah, 15. Ranging
Wow.
from, like something that costs £10, like a digital product, up to, I don't know, 5 figures for something, a project, whatever. Why would I stop being able to figure that out? Do you know what I mean? Like, as
Yeah.
in,
There's so much there to dig into.
do you see what I'm saying? Like, why would I be
Yeah.
like, okay, well, maybe I'm not getting paid for those things, but maybe that's because I've just moved past them and the chapter's closed, and that's okay. Because for example, I don't know, 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I built like a freelance course for all these people who were like, oh, you've got any? I was like, yeah, I'll build you a course, and then I started charging for it, and people were like, I didn't make it free originally, it was charging, And then people were like, I can't afford that. And I was like, okay, what do we, that's okay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying, okay, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And in the end, because I didn't want to talk about that industry in the same way, it's not, I'm not against it. I just didn't want to
Hmm.
talk about, I didn't want to talk about it. Right.
Yeah. I'm
Because,
right
and
there
so
with you, man.
if I'm not talking about it, no one's looking for that. Do you see what I mean? Because it all
Hmm.
goes through me. So in the end, I made it free for people. And then I think the day I made it free, or maybe the 2 days later, maybe about 400 people did it. And I was just like,
There you go.
okay. But that felt like the close of that chapter. Do you know what I mean? It
Interesting.
still
Yeah.
exists, and people could technically find it and do it, but it won't be through me promoting it because it would be silly. Not silly, but it's just not what I want to talk about. If I went on LinkedIn now and went, I've got a freelance course, you know, it's helped. It's helped. I don't know how many people, 50 people
Yeah.
doing their freelance thing. It could be you. Here it is. Do it. Like it would just wouldn't be what I want to say.
Yeah.
So that's what I do believe. Once you move, I mean, I'm kind of likening this to like a romantic relationship here, but like when you're in it, it's amazing, isn't it? When you're with a partner and you're in love, and it's amazing. And I've had four serious girlfriends. This is my fourth, who I'm having a baby with very soon, and I can't wait for that. But the
Nice.
three that came
Congrats.
before, I don't know. I did love them, but now I don't. You know,
Mm.
in that way, I don't. I can't be like, yeah, no, I'll always love you because I don't. So what I'm saying is, you move past things, and it's okay to move past things because the chapter closes. It's part of your story, part of your adventure, part of your evolution, and you have to just go, okay.
There you
And
go.
it's not like I'm not on. I messaged my other girlfriend, my last girlfriend. She's actually having a baby as well. And I was like, I messaged her. I said, brilliant,
Yeah.
congrats. And she sent back, that was all that needed to happen. It wasn't like, okay, let's keep talking. Just don't need to. And it was just kind of like, what I'm saying is like, you have to just sometimes just let things go and I mean that with your ideas and your activities, your experiences, and just go, okay, that was great, but
Yeah.
now I'm
Now
just
it's
gonna
time.
leave it, if that makes sense.
Well, in honor of, there's so much, by the way, just from a personal perspective here, just listening to you, you're closing chapters in my mind, right?
Mm.
Because I think the biggest thing when you're the business, when you're the niche, is you're constantly looking for ways to improve and refine.
Yeah,
Sometimes we get stuck in the trap of more.
yeah,
But like you, I'm in this phase of how do I refine and do less with more energy and more fun.
yeah, absolutely.
So this question I have to ask you. I always ask every guest this question, and I love the responses I get. Um, I know you don't like educating, but this is about educational experiences. So if you could create an alternative educational experience and teach the top 3 life lessons that we don't learn in school, what would they be?
I think what's coming to mind based on what you said is, it's like, I think it's important to go and figure some stuff out yourself, away from the books and the just the things you read online, the courses you do.
Yeah,
It's just going almost like, don't just take the education that you've had or having as like, well, that's it. That's all there is. And that's a big thing about education. It's very standardized, and that's for a reason, because it's going to a lot of people. And I'm not suggesting it's wrong. I'm just saying. So I think
yeah,
that, like, almost like doing your own studies, your life studies. It doesn't always have to be within a course or a book or a framework. It could, but I do believe that comes from experiences, life experiences, talking to people, going on adventures, doing stuff. It's just the making of you, because it just opens your eyes and ears and just everything into a new way, a different way.
yeah,
Sorry, and you take what resonates and you remember it. You know, you're not, and you kind of maybe it helps you along on your adventure. So I would say it's kind of like don't be afraid to explore new um, territories. I would say don't let other people's assumptions become like laws and rules.
Mm, mm.
Like, you know, question. I'm not going to be like question everything because I think that's probably a bit too. I think that's a bit too. Yeah, I'm not going to say that, but I think like you know, I would say for that, I would say you know, ask why. You
Yeah.
know, ask why more probably, and
Yeah.
I think that yeah, and I think that probably the third thing would be don't probably in the line of what we're talking about. It's like don't. It's okay to be selfish and do things for yourself. You know, don't you don't
Mm.
have to do them. You always do them with other people in mind, um, especially if you want to push yourself. Do you know what I mean? Because if you're doing things for other people, you're going to be, you know, you're going to be scared about
Yes.
what they're going to come back with, or you know how they're going to perceive it, judge you, criticize you. And I'm not suggesting that you know I'm immune from that because it's not. We don't like. It's okay to feel shit about someone saying I don't like that
Yeah.
or that wasn't very good or this. It's like it's not nice to hear, but it's it's a necessary thing, you know. But
Yeah.
I think that like if you truly want to express your unique point of view and your unique ideas, it does have to come from you for you, and yeah, and then you're gonna have to hope that it kind of it resonates with people. But like that's I think it all centers around you know, and I'm not a rebel specifically, but I do think that you know you go to these kind of institutions, you get institutionalized very early on, and you go to these institutions, and I'm not suggesting that they mean well.
Yeah.
I do believe they mean well, and I don't knock that at all, but it is kind of like okay, standardized and thinking as well, and it's like it's very difficult to kind of challenge it and break away from it because the outcome is grades and
Yeah.
you know exam results based on exams that you have to answer in a certain way. Um, but that's by the time you've gone through all that, and obviously maybe college as well and university over here, you're just so in it, aren't you? Like, and then you probably start working somewhere maybe, and it's just like, okay, well, we do things this way, and it's you're just not encouraged.
Standardize everything.
You're not, yeah, and you're not encouraged to think for yourself because it probably doesn't fit within, you
No.
know, the institution. I'm not, again, I'm not knocking that because I actually think you can't have chaos um,
Hmm.
as a kind of practice. It's just not. It doesn't really work, you know, when with these kind of things and in institutions. But I think you know, politically, it's like I will listen to both sides.
Yeah.
Most people won't because they're like, "No, you're wrong," and I'm like, "I don't think they're wrong. I just think,
Yeah.
okay, I might not agree, but I don't think you're wrong. I just think that's they're operating their own free will
Mm.
based on the information they have, you know. So it's kind of like, who are you to criticize them? And we kind of have it in this country where left leaning people are very critical of right
Hmm.
leaning people, and they're like, "You're wrong," and it's like it's not really the basis for a
Good
discussion, is it?
conversation. Yeah. There's no
Yeah.
dialogue.
You're wrong, and you're a racist, for example. It's like, well, I'm not saying you're
Yeah.
not. I'm just saying you're just saying it, and that's the point. It's like I think we could listen to each other more, you know, and
Hell yeah.
but I think that again, if I could go back into strategy for a second,
Yeah.
people know online that if they operate with a contrarian way of thinking, they will generate more attention, and it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Psychology. The harder you lean against something, or sorry, away from something, or criticize something, people will just go right. Okay, let's go for
Hmm.
that. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's kind of like I think everyone. I mean, everyone's got some sort of strategy going on, but I also just think like we need a bit more rawness of thought, because I find that quite interesting, because it's kind of talking about where people are at in that moment on that day, rather than going,
Yeah.
what's the game plan here? Where's that going? And other people might want to do that, and that's fine, and engineer things to go in a certain direction. But it kind of, yeah, and but then I also think it kind of makes people share maybe too much sometimes, you know, and I think that's another thing. It's like, I'm not saying it's up to people what they share,
Yeah.
um, but it's also like, that's the other thing, isn't it? Whatever you share will hold up a mirror to yourself, obviously, but then also other people are looking at it, and you know, sometimes it goes in directions that you either
Yeah.
do or don't want. Um, but I think that's why, like, for me, it's like, you know, I'm looking forward to sharing my ideas, because I don't really have any controversial views,
Yeah.
you know. Just, and I certainly wouldn't do it for the sake of it, being like, here, oh,
This will
controversial
boost
idea.
engagement.
Yeah,
Awesome.
here's some
Yeah.
controversial thoughts just to get things out there. It's, I don't really
Yeah.
think I do. I think I'm quite a fair person. I feel like I will listen to people, and I want people to do well. But
Yeah.
you know, fundamentally, I want myself to do well, and you know, I want to have a great life. But I also want to, yeah, I just, I think this is where the revelations come for me, Ken, because I'm going. You have an idea, and you get to a point, you're like, okay, that's really exciting, and then I'm basically like, now just going, well, I won't tell people what to do, and I won't share it with a lesson in mind, and I won't do it with an outcome in mind. I'll just do it because I'm like, okay, well, that's what I'm interested in,
There you go.
and that feels very good. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, okay, well, here we go, let's do that. And you can't lose. I can't. It's not about winning and losing, but I don't think I can lose doing that, because I'm just like, well.
No.
But
Well,
again, it's not like, right, how do you turn it into a series? You know, a strategy series. And I'm just
make
like,
it a
okay,
course.
how do I make this into a course, and how do I teach as many people as I can, and how do I do this? And it's just like, maybe that's just my way. It's just like, maybe that will take me places. I know it will. I don't know which places, but maybe that will take me into places where I'm like, wow, I'm really glad
Yeah.
um, that I did that, because it was just it was an adventure for me. It's not about daring to be different for the sake of it. It's just like that. It's just being honest, really. It's just like, well, that's
Yeah.
what's on my mind. And I think that's something that I think is, well, it's important to me. Is like, not everything has to have this outcome in mind. You know,
Yeah.
people
I
would
think,
argue, well, why would you do that? And it's like, well, it's because I'm enjoying the moment or process of, you know, it's like almost like ecstasy when you're in a
yeah.
moment that is just, there's flow, and you're just like, well, this is really interesting. I find this really interesting, rather than it being like, yeah, but that one, it's already been done, that, or that's never going to work, or, you know what, yeah, but where are they going to go next? And it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's almost like I'm almost talking myself out of having a business.
You know what's beautiful about this, man, is like, I think what you're doing is from what you've shared, finding alignment with the things that feel good and the way you want to show up, because
Yeah,
that is what makes it sustainable.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, I don't know how you feel about this. I feel like the greatest gift that we can give our family, our friends, is to just be fucking present.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
just be present. So if
yeah.
what you're doing and trying all this stuff is bringing you closer to that present state of awareness and like enjoying what you're doing, like if you enjoy your work and you're present, that is really hard to accomplish, because
Yeah.
I'm getting there, but I feel like you and I are having a lot of the same ideas, like creating friction and a lot of deeper thought. So we're going down this rabbit hole that I think a lot of people are starting to connect to more and more with AI and technology, where it's like human connection will be the ultimate commodity at some point, like these conversations.
I
So
think so. I think so, and I think that's what I'm kind of excited about, which is that, like, I'm not. I think in the past, maybe through an old way of thinking, maybe through other people's way of thinking, is
yeah,
being like, yeah, but why? What's the outcome, and why would I do that? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, but where,
yeah,
if you go down that path, what's it going to lead to? Is it going to lead to this kind of business or this? And it's just, now I'm just like, well, I don't know. It's not like I don't need to have it all figured out to kind of get there. You know what I mean? And I think,
Yeah,
and actually, you might go down that path and then go, okay, well, actually, it's led me to this or to this, and so like that's why it's exciting. But it does take confidence and courage to do it, because people will go, yeah, but that's not. And by doing that, I actually think the irony is it will just stand out because people won't
yeah,
be doing that. And it's like, okay, is that the strategy? And it's like, not really. It's just me being aligned with, as you say, aligned with what's going through my head
yeah.
um, at the moment. And do you know what? It doesn't mean I have to stick with it for the next 40 years, because
You
I
can
might
change
just
it.
change it. But I do
Yeah.
think that like it is an inbuilt thing that's probably always been there. And it's kind of
Mm,
like, you know, as I say, I'll be honest. It's like I have listened and I respect when I don't know something or know, like I didn't know anything about running a business, like,
yeah.
but I respect people who have, because I will listen to them because they're like, well, they're not trying to tell me what to do. They're just going, well, this is, and if you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. So you kind of have to just go, okay, well, you're not going to go, no, I know better than you, because I don't. So whereas now it's like I know better how to do my thing
Hmm.
than other people,
Yes.
and I think
Oh,
that that's okay, and I think that ultimately will lead me to a more fulfilling life. Will it be the most financially fruitful thing I could do? Don't know, but that's not really my ultimate goal. But obviously, this is where I'm kind of going back to the commercialization thing. Like, you do need to commercialize somewhere, because if you don't, well, if money was no object, would I be doing what I'm doing right now? That's the point. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of like
yep.
you do need to
Mm,
commercialize. But but that's the thing. I'm actually still very happy doing the things that I'm doing right now. It's just probably just more of a kind of philosophical journey for me now, to
yeah.
just go, right, well, let's explore this, rather than it being like, I will not
Mm,
do any video work because it doesn't serve me. It's like, no, I do like the video work.
yeah.
It's not that I don't like it. It's not, I do enjoy it, and I will keep doing it because I enjoy it. So, but what
Mm,
I'm saying is, there's almost like this other part of me which is like, right, okay, let's think about this,
yeah.
and let's share this, and let's explore the philosophies that I have, or that we have, a bit more,
Yeah.
um, rather than being like, okay, how do I bring more people into my funnel or world, and maybe it will happen in a direction that I don't know. But for me, I have an opportunity because I built something fair, authentically over 5 years, as in, my people are there watching, they know me. A lot of people
Yeah.
didn't know me 5 years ago. My old friends did, or my old colleagues, but all these people didn't know me 5 years ago. Now people know me, so it's like I've got people to talk to.
Yeah. You have a community. You've got peeps. You got your
I don't
tribe.
have, but that doesn't mean, again, it's like I'm going to resist that urge, Ken, to be like, oh, okay, start a community,
Yeah.
start a membership, start a
Start a newsletter.
start a newsletter. And the irony is, I'm going to start a newsletter because I actually do want to do that, but I think it'll be more around, I say what we're talking about, like just
Like ideas, right?
yeah, ideas. I've already told you about that, but it's kind of like what it's going to be is me sharing an idea, and then the audience or readers will submit ideas, and then I will share them. Like, not all of them, but I'll curate it,
Brilliant.
and that's it. It's like my idea, your idea, or one idea from me, one idea from you, and the hope of it is to connect. Obviously, it's a chance for me to write and think, or just express, but then it's
Hmm.
also like a chance for, because I won't talk about the same thing. It's not like business. I might talk about this once, and then I might talk about something else, like
It's so
something else.
great.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's an idea, but the point of getting other people involved is because I want to share their ideas and see who I can connect them with. You know, so
That's
it's like,
brilliant.
rather than it being like, um, okay, you've read my email. Now look down at the email, and you can see all my services and all the things that you can buy.
Yeah.
It's more like, okay, so let's say Ken submitted this idea, and this is this is what it is. He's very excited about it, and basically I'll talk about it a bit, and then be like, "Can anyone help Ken? Does anyone get involved with this? Does anyone whatever?"
That's
And
awesome.
then it's like, submit. Does anyone, if you want to submit your idea, send it to me. Obviously, I'm not going to feature all of them. I might even have it where it's like one big idea and then maybe a few little short ones from other people. Obviously, that
Mm.
requires people to send their ideas in, but I think people will. And I've always said with the newsletter, like same with anything really, any piece of content. If you don't do it for the love of it, like how do you expect other people to enjoy, consuming it or reading it or opening it? And just because you have a newsletter doesn't mean people are opening it. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes, it's
um,
true, actually.
exactly.
Deeply true.
So for me, I've resisted it for ages. I'm like, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to do this. But
You know
I
what's
think
happening? Oh, sorry, I cut you off. Go
no,
ahead.
no, it's fine.
Okay.
It's fine. I think
Um,
I just I'm willing to take a good punt on myself, and just go right. Let's just do that, and I think things will come out of it 100%. It might be that something clicks or something sparks, and I go, actually, that is strategically or commercially, that's a good idea. Let's do that. But I think for now, it's like trying to almost go back to not square one, but like basically condense everything I've ever done and go, right, I'm going to rebrand myself as this is and then do the rebrand first, and then
then
you know
do
what I
the
mean.
thing.
It's not doesn't work with me. It's more like, okay, let's just try things. I mean, it's like people have got short memories. Like I honestly, like they'll just forget about other things. And
Yeah,
because I pivoted several times, not in a strategic way, just because I was like, well, I'm going to do this because I want to. People forget about the other stuff because they just do.
yeah,
So yeah, I am excited about it because it's more just for myself and my life really, and I just believe that that way is a great way for me, and also like it will feel fulfilling, and nourishing and energizing, and because I can't be super practical, Ken. I can't be like, I've got a
mm,
video production business, and not that there's anything wrong with this, by the way. I work with I don't, but I work with tech brands, to kind of elevate their video content so they're more visible and they get more leads and more sales. Like it's just I'm not knocking it. It's just I can't. That's not
oh
enough for
man,
me because I'm literally like, okay,
no.
well, it's too practical. And even if do you know what the irony is? Even if something is practical, if you're not good at if you're not good at sales and marketing, you won't even be able to do the thing anyway. So
Yes.
so that's what it's like. Basically, if you're really good at sales and marketing, you can do whatever you want, really. Like because you
Yeah,
can just go right. Well, I'll sell that, Yeah. Whereas there's all these
totally.
people out there who've got like, yeah, no, that's my mission and
The thing.
purpose. What your mission and purpose is being a copywriter for food and drink brands. Is that your mission?
Is
Honestly,
that, yep.
and
Yeah.
I'm not. And if you know what, if it is, tell me to f off. Honestly, like I'll just go, okay, cool. But if that's your mission, fine. But when people almost they say stuff like that, and I'm going,
It's like, is
yeah,
that really your mission?
yeah, and I'm like, is that what? So that's what you were put on this earth to do? You know what I mean? Like, and you
Yeah,
know what? Again, if it was, and you
yeah,
say, Adam, fuck off, I'll go, okay, fine. But I have to challenge it because it doesn't feel like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel like, but maybe that's just me. But maybe that's just not. It's not enough of a mission for me. The irony is, when I first started my business, I could only work with food and drink brands because because of COVID, I couldn't go out. So
Yeah,
I had to film loads of shit in the garden with my mate who's a bartender. I've told you about this. Built a
yeah,
bar. All we used to do is make cocktail videos for like alcohol companies, but that was out of necessity. But I
yeah.
still wouldn't go. My mission is to
Is to make these.
elevate alcohol brands so they can make more money through video content. It's just like, well, it's not my mission, is it? It's just like
No, it's
I think
something deeper.
Well, yeah, but the thing I
Maybe.
loved about that time was because like we made stuff happen because we had nothing to lose and we just went fuck it, let's just try and make some shit happen with people and companies. We didn't have any money. He couldn't work. I didn't have a job. I had the business. So
Yeah.
you just try, it's just try. And that's the point. Like I look back at that time and I go, what a wonderful time,
Oh man.
because it was just
Right.
like, it felt exciting.
Yeah.
And now
Um,
this feels exciting, but in a different way because I'm thinking, well, I'll do it for the love of it.
I got to ask you this question. I've found reflecting on this question helps to keep me grounded. So I always
Okay.
love to ask this at the end of the interviews. If today, God forbid, there was some unfortunate accident and you knew this was your last moment on earth, this is the end of Adam, on that deathbed, uh, what would be your biggest regret at this moment in your life?
It's a challenging question to answer without. Yeah, I think for me, because I think about my deathbed a lot actually,
I do. I do too.
and I just know that it's like I'm really happy with everything I've done and tried so far. Um, I like myself, or accept myself, and enjoy myself more each day. And the more I lean into that, the more I feel it's not a strategy. It's just how I feel. But
Yeah.
I think for me, it's like I think people say, well, I don't have any regrets. And it's like, well, I don't agree with that. So
Hmm.
as in, I've done things and I regret them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've got like 1,000 things to share. I'm just saying you just do. Does that mean that like you beat yourself up about it forever? I don't think so. But I do think that like for me, it's about getting to that point where you're like, end of life, and it's like, I did I did as much as I could, and I reduced
Hmm.
the amount of regret rather than, you know, adding to it and being like, well, I didn't do that thing, did I? Like, I didn't do that. And I don't know, there might be stuff where I think that, but I'm not. It's not a box ticking exercise. I don't. A bucket list is a bucket list, but for me, it's just like it's a commitment to that
Yeah.
because I don't feel good when I don't try. For example, go and talk to that person. I didn't.
Hmm.
I go to sleep going, why did I not do that? I wanted to. So I think it's kind of like, and that doesn't really happen to me now. It might have done when I was younger because I was maybe a bit less confident, but it's just that
Yeah.
like, okay, if it's something's itching, scratch it.
Yes. Hell
You
yeah.
know, if it's itching, just scratch it. Like it's not, it might not make complete logical sense to scratch it. And I appreciate that some people would go, well, you can't say that about everything. And look, within the confines of certain parameters, I don't think scratching the itch is a good idea. Take that with a pinch of salt. You kind of like,
Yeah. It's different for everybody.
it's different for everybody. But I hope that was answered your question.
That was great. And actually, you kind of answered the second part, but I'll ask it anyway. What would be your most peaceful thought or realization that you've lived a good life, if God forbid you were in that deathbed moment?
Peaceful moment.
Yeah. Some
Um,
of that thought where you're like, you know what? I'm ready to go. I've lived a good life.
I think I just imagine just like maybe it's quite cinematic in a way, but like just kind of my brain just kind of just flashing through like loads of memories and adventures. And the thing that I like to say um, or think about is that like you don't always have to go on like a massive adventure, like like it can be a micro adventure, but you have to have the sense of adventure in you to try things, and that can be within your confines of your own home, or it can be out there doing whatever, like up a mountain over that, whatever. But like it's just like it's just life is better when you just do that, isn't it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's all about balance. You can't do that every minute of the day because you just can't. Sometimes you're like, I'm in a bit of a, but then as long as you come out again and you're like, okay, let's go for that. And because why do humans feel better when they've done something like challenging or something they're not
Yeah.
used to, or whatever? Because they've learned something new, and they've kind of, had to relearn about resilience again, and they've probably, I don't know, like they're kind of rewiring things in their
Mhm.
brain, and there's something about making your brain work which is
Yeah.
exciting, rather than it being like, um, well, I know how to do that. I'll just do it on autopilot. It's like driving a car, you know. I mean, it'd be insane if every time you got in a car, you forgot how to drive and you had to relearn. But like the point is, like it's called autopilot for a reason, and I just think, it's not about what other people are doing, but I can't live my life on autopilot. Like we're creatures of comfort and also routine, so we will create that. And sometimes we have to, and I think that's okay. But
Yeah.
I also think it's like, are you pushing yourself enough in your own way, not in my way? Because I probably push myself in a different way to you. But are you
Yeah.
going, okay, that's challenging me.
Yeah.
Let's just try. And at the end of the day, that's how people get places. it's not
Yeah.
it's not through just going, okay, well, I worked out how to do something,
I got the
and
strategy.
then I've got a strategy, and now I'm just going to do that over and over again. So it's just like, okay, well, I don't know. The only
Yeah.
thing that you should probably do over and over again is probably eat food and drink water, and obviously be good to your body and your mind, and just obviously there's nothing wrong with habits and routines for that. But when it's like, yeah, well, it's just taking the when it's just kind of monotonous and predictable.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you have to throw a grenade at something, not literally, obviously, but you don't have to blow it up and be like, yeah, like let's go crazy just to shake it
Yeah.
up. It's more just like, what's going on over there? Like, why don't I just go and talk to that person and just ask them
Mhm.
about something, and they'll just go, "Why? Did you meet that? Yeah, that fella over there. He was really
Yeah.
interesting, actually. He was telling me that he used to do this, and yeah, he said thanks for coming over, and it's just like, yeah, great, okay." I live off that stuff, and
Yeah.
I think because I live off that stuff, I'm just constantly like excited about the next day, because it's just like, well, I'm not going to settle for this.
Yeah. All right. Final question. I'm so grateful for this time. According to Adam, what does it mean to own your truth?
Right now, it is everything that we've just talked about. So it's it is really just going, okay, this is what I want to put out into the world, and these are my ideas, and these are my kind of philosophies, and not being too influenced by other people. So for me, that's kind of what it is at the moment. And I think that within that, there could be some incredible storytelling. There could be some incredible musings and thought, but like that's what I feel like we need a bit more rawness of, personally, because we are all like that, really.
Yeah.
We haven't got it all figured out, so we may as well share that, but but do it in a way that works for you, because not everyone is the same.